Good evening. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It is time for the last installment of our City Survival 101 series. And we're going to take everything that we talked about over the last 12, 14 weeks, and we're going to wrap it up in a nice, pretty bow and hand it to you so you guys can walk away with something to think about. All right. First up, if you're in chat, I see 4 people viewing this. Let's see. We got Lynn's in here. Tiger's in here. Utah Mike's in here. We got one more person. Oh, we got some more people. Listen, if you're not in the live chat, get down in the live chat because YouTube does not put all the comments up in the top chat for whatever reason. So we're gonna get in the live chat and we're gonna talk about it. Bonnie Blue, good to see you. Beautiful night in this part of the country tonight, isn't it, Bonnie Blue? I was out with the animals before I got on here, and it was just a gorgeous night. It's just perfect weather. Hope it's good where you are too. Jane, how you doing? Glad you guys can make it. I hope everybody had a good day today. All right. Shall we get started? I think we shall. So tonight, the basic topic is going to be becoming a full spectrum urban survivor. All right. And I want to start off with a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. No PowerPoint for you guys tonight either. I just didn't feel like doing it again. All right. So here's the quote. To finish the moment, to find the journey's end in every step of the road, to live the greatest number of hours is wisdom. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here. That's what the whole preparedness gig is about. It's about preparing ourselves and walking that road through adversity and coming out the other end with wisdom. Okay. So, I said this is the last video in the series, but this isn't the end. And let me explain why it's not the end. So if we've made it this far, you already know something most people never stop to consider. The system we depend on, power grids, grocery shelves, supply chains, even political stability are far more fragile than they appear. A single storm, blackout, or economic shock can ripple outward and bring the entire community to their knees. This realization is likely what kept you turning back up here and seeking the tools to protect yourself and those you care about. This is not the end of the journey, guys. It's the beginning of a new way of living and thinking. Preparedness isn't a box you check or a finish line you cross. It's a mindset, a commitment to self-reliance and adaptability. Picture the next crisis that sweeps through your city. When others scramble for bottled water or panic in the dark, you'll be calm, already 2 steps ahead. Not because you're lucky, but because you've chosen a different path, the path of readiness. You don't need to live in fear. You've chosen to live with purpose and awareness, with the agency to shape your own future. I'm going to say that again. The agency to shape your own future. At the end of the day, you're responsible for it. That choice already sets you apart from the majority of people, and it will carry you forward as the challenges of tomorrow unfold. All right, so let's go back. Let's cover what the aspects of full spectrum preparedness are. It's a living framework. So let's revisit the model one last time. It's not just a checklist. It's a holistic, interwoven system of reliance. We've got food, water, shelter, security, medical, transportation, communication, financial stability, mental and spiritual resilience, and community. Each one of these aspects reinforces the other. They create a web of strength that is not only strong at its weakest strand, that is only as strong as its weakest strand. Sorry about that. I'm reading from a script, guys. I'm just too tired to be doing this off the top of my head. That's why redundancy and balance are essential. Preparedness isn't static. It shifts with your stage of life, the threats you face, and the environment you live in. Revisit your plans regularly, refine them, and adapt as circumstances change. The FSP model gives you a blueprint. You remain the architect, constantly shaping and reshaping your resilience. Nowhere is this more critical than in urban and suburban environments where shifting demographics, fragile infrastructure, and complex social dynamics demand preparedness strategy tailored for the city itself. Okay, here's a question for everybody in chat. Since if you have followed this series through the last, 12, 14 weeks, have you started thinking differently about your preparedness situation? And have you revisited where you are as far as that goes and set some goals? All right, because that's ultimately what this whole thing is about. It's getting people to change their behavior and to start thinking along the lines of being prepared. All right. So let's talk about urban-specific resilience, adapting to a changing landscape. While the underlying concepts of full spectrum preparedness apply universally, the focus has been on urban and suburban environments. These environments shift constantly: demographics, politics, infrastructure, and threats. You must become a student of your environment. Stay aware of things like local crime trends, infrastructure upgrades or decay, political and social movements. That's a big one right now. Economic changes. There's another big one. And natural disaster risks. Always refine your plan and do major reassessment of your preparedness quarterly. Yes, quarterly. You need to sit down at least once a quarter and run through the list of things that you need to fix, get, or just simply take care of. All right. Do you need to update your OPSEC or adjust your communication plan? Build a rhythm of review and revision so that preparedness becomes part of your normal routine, not just an occasional checklist. Over time, these regular habits weave resilience into your daily life, turning preparedness from a task you do into a lifestyle you live. So basically what that means is you set a pattern of behavior and you make it a routine. That's the key word there. You make it a routine. And it just becomes part of your daily existence. You know, if you're the easiest one in the preparedness realm, if you go to the store and you've got the extra money, buy a few extra cans of food to store away someplace. You know, okay. Tiger says yes. That's why she's planning a fall garden this year. She's trying to get ahead of the game. That's good. That's good. Our fall garden was doing really well, but we got hit with a couple of cold nights here, and it's not doing too well anymore. So Tiger's actually living in an urban environment, and this has helped her out a lot of our life up here until we get a good rip. Until we can get a good okay. And I have my glasses on, and the cat's kind of small. Not gonna lie. Evening, Gregory. So preparedness is a lifestyle. So this isn't about buying a bunch of gear and checking out. Just to reiterate, the critical idea: when a crisis occurs, you won't rise to the occasion. You will fall to the highest point of your training and preparedness. Preparedness is about building a sustainable, adaptable lifestyle, making a routine. Rotate supplies as part of your regular shopping. That's that first in, first out that they talk about. Make physical fitness a daily habit. For some of us, that's kind of hard. I'm not going to lie. My physical fitness is not where it should be. Practice skills regularly: fire making, first aid, radio use, navigation. Now, okay, so the examples I just listed. So fire making, that is normally considered a bushcraft skill. What happens if you gotta cook on your grill and you don't have matches? Right? Now you should have matches because you've been prepared and you've got a stockpile of them. But what if you don't? You know, you need to be able to know how to make fire different ways. First aid. We talked about it last night on the live last night with Mrs. Hacks getting her finger caught. You know, having first aid handy. You never know when you're going to need it. Radio use. If you got radios, you know, this is my argument that you need to get a license so you can practice before everything falls apart. Right? So yeah, this is what we need to do. And navigation, that sounds like getting a map and a compass and going out in the woods. No, it doesn't. It means going out and learning your city, knowing the suburbs. You know, I got into several arguments with people because I did not carry a map in my get home bag. I did not carry a map. The reason being is because I lived in that area and I worked in that area my entire life. And I knew how to get from my house to work and back by like hundreds of different routes, right? I grew up in that area. But I did go out on my way home from work. I would drive different routes just so I could familiarize myself with the area. All right. You also need to talk with your family about plans in a calm and empowering way, guys. Okay. I cannot stress the importance of that. If you talk to your family members like a crazy person and talk about meteors hitting the planet and all these other things that people like daydreaming about, it's just going to turn them off. All right. Same thing with strangers. You don't start the conversation with the black pill. You start the conversation with the white pill, something positive, find common ground, and you just gently work it in. Right. Here's an important one. This is an important one, and it's kind of ironic that I'm giving this to you on YouTube. Stay informed and avoid doom scrolling. Listen, guys, if the prepper community on YouTube and online is filled with people that are out to make a buck, and the best way to make a buck is to black pill you and scare you. And they do that on a regular basis. The big ones do it all the time. I'm not going to name any names. You know exactly who I'm talking about. But you need to stay informed and not get taken up by all the craziness that's out there. So Gregory says he carries an atlas and an aircraft chart. Oh, I like the aircraft chart. That's a good idea. I never thought of that. See, we're learning something here. We're exchanging knowledge. Bonnie says, no, 10-mile radius from your home wall. Absolutely. Absolutely. Probably a little bit more if you can do it. So we want to embed preparedness into our daily lives so deeply that it becomes second nature. Don't live in fear. Live with purpose, clarity, and confidence. As preparedness becomes part of who you are, it naturally extends beyond your own household. True resilience isn't built in isolation. It grows stronger when sharing, by living with purpose and modeling readiness. You set the stage for building and leading community resilience, showing others what it looks like to thrive instead of merely enduring. So we're going to talk about community now, and I know this is a tough subject for some people. You got to find community, guys. The having the online community here is a start, but we need to have flesh and blood relationships. All right, and it's hard sometimes. I readily admit that. Okay, so we're going to talk about building and leading community resilience. So we've all heard the saying, no man is an island. The lone wolf myth is not only romanticized in stories and media, it is also dangerous. Humans are inherently social creatures, and our ability to survive and thrive has always depended on cooperation and shared effort. When individuals come together with common purpose, communities gain resilience, knowledge multiplies, and resources are used more efficiently. Survival isn't just about stockpiling supplies or mastering skills in isolation. It's about creating a network of trust and mutual support. Communities flourish when members contribute their strengths, share what they know, and provide help where it is needed. You don't have to broadcast your efforts or seek recognition. Start small and discreet. Identify like-minded individuals, form Skillshare circles, and cultivate mutual aid without compromising your privacy. Encourage preparedness in subtle ways. This goes back. This touches on what we just discussed a little while ago. Through church groups, neighborhood watches, or informal workshops, so that awareness spreads naturally. Lead by example, demonstrating consistency, reliability, and competence. As you develop these connections, you begin to shape more than just your immediate environment. You begin to cultivate the mindset needed for long-term survival. Once that balance of self-reliance with interdependence, foresight, and adaptability and preparation with the patience required to endure beyond the short term. That was not a very well built sentence. So the mindset is one that balances survival with interdependence, foresight and adaptability, and preparation with the patience required to go beyond survival. Okay, yeah, it wasn't as bad as I read it. Sorry about that, guys. So, okay, here's the next question for the chat here. Has anybody taken steps in? We'll go back 6 months. Okay, let's go back 6 months. Have you done anything that, in your mind, could have planted the seed of community with somebody? You know, Tiger's talking about the gardening stuff. That's a great way to meet people. Seriously, getting into community gardening is a great way, especially if you're in an urban environment. You know, the prime example of that, the urban farming guys. It's a Christian ministry. You've heard me talk about it, but they started in Kansas City, and they've got chapters like 7 or 8 places across the nation. And they went into this area of Kansas City, and they bought this house. And there's a bunch of young white kids. They're kind of crunchy granola types. You know, they definitely did not fit into the demographics of the area that they moved into because it was down at 12th and oh my gosh, 12th and not Grand. Maybe it was Grand. No, it wasn't Grand. Anyway, it was in the hood. And they started doing this stuff, and they started offering community gardening plots. And in a matter of 2 or 3 years, they knew everybody that was surrounding them, and they were a fixture of the neighborhood. And crime actually went down. The Kansas City Police Department loved these people because the crime went down 12% in the matter of 2 years. And in Kansas City, actually in any large city, a 12% decrease in all crime stats combined is a huge, huge jump. Right? Tiger says, I got 2 neighbors on each side of me who started doing some gardening after I started. Yep, there you go, leading by example. Lynn says he feed friends and neighbors from his garden. Absolutely, share that abundance. That's one of the permaculture ethos right there. Is share the abundance. Okay, so let's talk about the mindset for long-term survival for a second. Okay, guys. Once a crisis begins and you start dipping into your supplies, the countdown starts. Food, batteries, and gear can only last so long. That's why preparedness and gear can never be about stockpiles alone. Gear is finite. Mindset, skill, and community are renewable. They grow stronger the more you invest in them, and they can carry you further than any stash of goods ever could. Having an eye on long-term survival is where the path divides. On one side are those who remain blind and dependent, trusting fragile systems to rescue them when they fail. On the other side are those who choose awareness, who take responsibility, and who build resilience that no disaster can strip away. Your ability to adapt, improvise, and stay mentally strong, anchored by your values and spiritual grounding, will be the true measure of your survival. Preparedness is about reclaiming agency in a world designed to keep you passive. Let's say that again. That's an important one right there. Preparedness is about reclaiming agency in a world designed to keep you passive. Don't just prepare for tomorrow's storm. Prepare for the next 5 years, the next decade. Teach your children resilience, pass on skills to others, and fortify a legacy that endures. Survival isn't only about making it through a crisis. It's about living free in the aftermath. Okay, Utah Mike says, suburbs for me. I started gardening, yard cleanup, did small generator demo for a few I planned to group with. Excellent. That's a great thing, man. Good job. Bonnie Blue, I did not know the urban gardening guys had spread to other chapters. That's amazing. Good for them. Yeah, I haven't interacted with them for about 4 or 5 years now, so I don't know where they're sitting. Their YouTube channel went silent, and their online presence is spotty at best. But yeah, they had, the last time I talked to them, they had like six other things going on. Gregory, there are several gardening plots across Nebraska, mostly in the Lincoln, Omaha area. Tiger, I literally live in the city, and people call me Farmer Tiger because I grow food and raise rabbits and chicken. There you go. You know what? It's better than some of the alternatives they could know you by, right? So now we need to think realistically. It's time to take a little bite out of a black pill, okay, guys? We need to start talking about the future. And I did not incorporate any recent events into this. So this is just a generalization here. So history teaches us that societies rarely collapse overnight. Rather, it's through a series of shocks that expose weak points in our systems. We are already seeing the signs: fragile supply chains, political unrest, financial instability, and a climate of growing uncertainty. These are not distant possibilities. They are the conditions of our world right now. Recognizing the pattern isn't fear, it's foresight. We've seen supply chain disruptions during COVID, right? The rising authoritarianism and surveillance. You know, the government, even with people who are supposedly freedom-minded at the lead, is still oppressive, and even those people are ushering in a surveillance state that has never been seen in the world. It's going to be more powerful than even the Chinese have. You know, natural disasters, we face those all the time. Economic volatility and currency devaluation. You know, the shelf life of an empire is usually about 250 years, and we have gone past that shelf life, and we have been on fiat currency since the early 70s, and eventually it's going to run its course. And then political polarization and unrest, and that unfortunately, guys, that's not going away. In fact, I don't think there's any way it goes away without anything bad happening. I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? But and here's the deal: we can't stop these from unfolding. You know, you can prepare and determine how prepared you are to meet them, though. By anticipating what's coming and adapting before the crisis hits, you shift from being a passive victim to an active participant in your own future. That shift begins with action. Clear, deliberate steps you can take today. Let's break down your first 30 days into a simple, practical roadmap. Tiger says our government is actively trying to curtail free speech now. They want to take our constitutional rights away. Oh yes, they stand in the way of authoritarianism. As a country, we're going bankrupt slowly until it happens all at once. Absolutely, that's going to be an event that people say to themselves, "Where did this come from?" And it's been percolating for the last 5 decades now. 6 decades. Okay, so here's the call to action. If we're gonna walk away from this, we're getting towards the end of this video. It's going to be a short and sweet one, guys. Here, I got a call to action. Your first 30 days, and after you hear this, put in the chat. Let me know if you want me to take this call to action and dump it in the community post, so that you can refer back to it and try to see if you can follow it. Okay. Just you let me know. All right. When we're done, having listened to everything, and if you're new to the channel and this is the first time you've seen one of these city survival videos, once this goes live on YouTube, I'm going to link it back to the very first video in this series, and you go back and watch it. Okay. And then come back to this and take this 30-day action plan and see if you can't put it into use. All right. So here's my challenge. Be proactive and do the following today. All right. I realize it's late. You can do this tonight if you want. Do it tomorrow morning after you've had a good night's sleep, though. So take command. So today I want you to inventory your current supplies or make a basic communication plan. Do one of those two things if you haven't done that already. All right. And inventorying, that's one of those things. It's something we do on a regular basis. All right. All right. So this week, build momentum. All right. If you've inventoried your supplies, your food should be the priority of inventorying. All right. You should know what's in your cupboards. I want you to set about storing 3 days of food and water. And remember, it takes you can survive off of a gallon a day, but it more realistically, couple of days, couple of gallons per day. All right. So identify and walk your primary bug out route. All right. Now I'm not saying if you work 30 miles from home, I'm not saying go home or go to work and then walk home. What I'm saying is know how to get out of your neighborhood. All right. You should know all the routes around, and that's putting some physical fitness into play, right? You're learning how to do this as well as getting physically fit. And if you do drive a distance to get to work, like most suburbanites do, take a different route home and study it. Learn the route by heart, by memory. Be able to do it without a map. Okay, and then by the end of the month, you should become a person your family can count on. All right. This is a 30-day. This is a 30-day challenge here. This is one that's going to take 30 days. Build or update your get home bag. If you don't have a get home bag, excuse me. If you don't have a get home bag, get online. There are tons of channels out there that have really good tutorials on how to build a get home bag. All right. Put it in your car once you build it too. Doesn't do any good sitting in your closet. Yeah, Tiger says not walking 197 miles this week. I can understand that. Okay. Next thing you want to do this month. Practice a blackout or no grid evening with your household. Flip that breaker switch. Don't do it without telling anybody. Don't shock your family members, but go, look, I want to do something as a test and just do it one evening for 2 or 3 hours and see how people survive. All right. And here's the big one. This is the one that's gonna force some of you to get outside of your comfort circle. And unfortunately, nobody's going to be there to push you out of it. So you're going to have to push yourself out of it on your own. All right. Join a skills group or start one. All right. And preferably in person. Find somebody, find something that's going on in your area. Go take a CPR class this month. Within the next 30 days, go get certified in Red Cross CPR. Yeah, that's a true statement. Some family members have to be shocked, but we don't want to start off that way. When you're teaching, not that these people are children, okay, but if you're teaching a child to swim, you don't throw them in the deep end, right? And shutting the power off without letting anybody know is going to be a shock. Yeah, no screens. I have to actually talk to her. God forbid. A lot of people feel like that, man. So each of these steps may seem small on their own. Together, they build a foundation of strength and confidence that most people will never have. By acting today, this week, and this month, you're proving to yourself and to those who depend on you that you can rise above complacency and take control of your future. Don't wait for the world to force your hand. Lead with intention, live with readiness, and let the first 30 days mark the beginning of a lifetime of resilience. Now, I know for a lot of you, it's not a beginning, but we're going to call it a reaffirmation of your lifetime of resilience. Hey, what's up, Zach? Zach's in the house. Everybody stop talking about him. Hope you're doing okay, brother. All right, so here's a bit of encouragement and some final thoughts on this matter. And this is going to be where we close out this Survival 101 series. If you've liked it so far, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, guys. Come join us on this journey. It's an ever-changing journey. I'm figuring that out. Most people will never take the first step to go down the road that you started down. They keep going on as though everything will remain the same until it doesn't. It's said that preparedness isn't a destination, it's a journey. Hence the Ralph Waldo Emerson quote at the beginning. A journey of learning skills, refining plans, and maintaining momentum. Each choice you make on that journey helps you build the resilience we've talked about. At some point, the lights will go out in your city. The infrastructure will stop working as it always has. If you are lucky, It's only a temporary blip. What if it's not, though? What if the crisis lasts for weeks, months, or even a year? What if fear and confusion take hold across your city? When the lights go out, the shelves go bare, and the panic sets in, you'll have a foundation to remain steady and calm. Not living in fear is the real victory, being able to weather the storm with freedom. Not doing it just for yourself either. You do it for your family and your community as well. By listening to this series, you're already ahead. You've got the framework, you have the tools, and now all you need to do is act. Start where you are, use what you have, grow every week. This journey is about momentum, not perfection. And remember, you're not alone. You've chosen this hard path, and trust me, it does get hard. Stay vigilant, stay humble, and most importantly, stay human. Finally, when you lay your head on the pillow tonight, you should be able to say to yourself, I am better off now than I was when I woke up this morning. With that certainty, you'll be able to have a fit night's sleep and wake up tomorrow ready to live a lifetime free. All right, guys. Well, that's the end of the presentation. What's Zach say? Zach got 20 to 25 pounds. You're way ahead of me, brother. Yeah, absolutely. Good job. Good job. But, you know, I'm kind of, I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I know that there's probably nobody in chat that's actively talking that is not already taking the steps down this journey. I look at it as a responsibility. You know, we have a responsibility not only to ourselves but our loved ones to make sure that they don't suffer needlessly. All right, and that's what this is all about. And the line in this last video that I said about the legacy, you know, we should be looking to build a legacy, and it's not necessarily one that has people remember us, but it's a legacy that has people thinking about the ideas of freedom and liberty and self-reliance. Those that's the legacy we want to leave behind. If people think of us, that's what they should think about. People better learn to cook their food from scratch instead of store-bought. Absolutely. Always good to have a pep talk to get things lined out. Yep. Again, 100% correct. You know, every now and then we need a little reassurance that what we're doing is the right thing. You know, it helps. It really does help. So that's it for tonight, guys. Like I said, short video, just wrapping it up, putting a bow on it. In the chat, do you want me to put that 30-day challenge in a community post? Probably to be tomorrow morning. It's late and I'm tired. Once this goes up, I can do it. But do you guys want me to put that in there? So not necessarily you can do it. Maybe you can share it with somebody and say, hey, take a look at this. And then that maybe gets them talking about it. I don't know. Tiger needs to get their comms worked out. Can't figure out the Bofang. Okay, Tiger, here's what I want you to do. Write this down. Write this down. So if you got a Bofang, you've got the cable that goes with it for configuring it. Go out and find Chirp, and it's a GUI interface that you can program the radio. And basically what you're doing is you're filling out an Excel spreadsheet type of thing and then uploading it. That's what you do. But the software is called Chirp. And if you have, man, I cannot remember the brand. So the driver for Chirp is one that's not made. It's from like 2007, if I remember correctly. So you may have to go find the right driver for your cable to work. All right. So, and if you have problems, you know how to get a hold of me. You can email me, and I can look. I've got it written down someplace. Off the top of my head, I can't remember it. You know, but yeah, go ahead and get that Chirp, and it's as simple. It's literally point and click on your computer. Lynn's the weird uncle. I can believe that. My nieces and nephew graduated and everybody sends money. I send books that will improve their futures. Well, God forbid that they have a good future. And here's something else. Lynn tangentially brings up something really important here. The world of our future is going to be dramatically different. It's going to be dramatically different than what we grew up in, and it's never going back. The world's never going back to the way it was when we were young. All right, we lived in a very blessed time, and we should use it to our advantage, what we learned and all that stuff. It's more important now than ever to share this information and share our experience with the younger generations. All right. Bonnie's the weird aunt eventually gave up because it wasn't appreciated. Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes you're running. Yes, if you're into trouble, you can email me and I'll get you hooked up. In fact, if I can remember, I'll get the links for all the stuff that you need and get them posted. Need a good paper library. Absolutely. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Angela got home. I need to go see how she's doing, and I hope everybody has a great week. If you're within driving distance for a day trip to Lawrence, Kansas, come out on Friday or Saturday and come to Midwest Preparedness. It's free. There's going to be a lot of good speakers. Probably one of the best talks is going to be about cheese making at 10 o'clock on Friday morning. Just saying, the guy knows a little bit about it. And if you can make it, let me know. Email me, text me, let me know if you're going to be there, because right now I'm not planning on being there Saturday. I've got a bunch of stuff I got to do to get ready for Self-Reliance Festival the weekend after that. So I need to maximize my efforts to get that done in a timely manner. I need a whole room for my library at this point. Absolutely. And Lynn says we're facing the depopulation on a scale of the Black Plague in the next 40 years. Things are going to change. Absolutely. All right, guys, listen, you want to help the channel? Help yourselves. Go in the affiliate links. I say this every time. It's getting kind of old. I realize that. Go hit the links. Watch the commercial at the end. If you need a deck of without rule of law cards, you use our code to get them. And you guys take care and go live a life done free. Okay.
Survival isn't just about having the right gear. It's about mindset. In a world without the rule of law, what will you do to survive? WROL isn't just a game. It's a tool to hone your preparedness and survival mindset. Test your instincts. Outthink, outlast, and outmaneuver your opponents in a world that's fallen apart. With WROL, every card you play challenges your thinking, tests your adaptability, and sharpens your ability to make tough decisions under pressure. Whether you are planning for an everyday emergency or prepping for the end of the world, WROL helps you prepare for the chaos of everything in between. Ready to level up your survival skills? Click the link in the description to order your deck of WROL cards today and start building your SHTF mindset. The apocalypse starts here.